Welcome to the Selling Southport podcast. I'm Andrew Wright, Principal of Professional Southport since 2008. Real estate isn't just my career, it's my passion. With decades of experience, I know what it takes to succeed in the property market, especially here in Southport. Whether you're looking to buy, sell, lease or invest, you can count on me and my team to deliver strategies that maximise your returns. Let's dive into today's episode and get you one step closer to your property goals. Hi, I'm Andrew Wright from Professional Southport, and welcome back to another episode of Selling Southport. Today we're diving into something that every property seller in Queensland needs to understand clearly: the full picture of selling costs. When it comes to selling your home, most people focus on the sale price, which makes sense. But what often catches sellers by surprise is just how many different costs are involved in the process. And the last thing I want for any of my clients is unexpected stress because of fees they weren't prepared for. So in this episode, I'm going to walk you through every major cost you might encounter when selling your property here in Queensland, from agents' commissions, marketing, legal fees, staging, and even the hidden extras most people don't think about. And just like everything we talk about here on the podcast, I'll keep it clear, practical and real based on what we're seeing in the Southport market right now. Let's jump in. First up, the real estate agent fees and commission. This is probably the biggest and most talked about selling cost. In Queensland, real estate commissions aren't fixed by law, which means agents can charge different amounts depending on their agency, experience, and the service level they're offering. Now, most commonly, agents work on a percentage-based commission, usually somewhere between 2 and 3% of the final selling price plus GST. But some agencies, especially larger ones, might offer fixed fee packages, particularly for lower value homes or investment units. So what does this commission actually cover? At a minimum, it should include buyer management, negotiation, inspection coordination, follow-up, and general campaign handling. And in many cases, depending on your agency, it also includes strategic advice, help with pricing, marketing coordination, and contract management. The key is to understand exactly what's included in the commission and what's not before you sign anything. Next, marketing costs. This is one that varies widely, and it's where your agent's advice really comes into play. Good marketing makes a real difference. We've seen it time and time again here in Southport. At a basic level, your marketing budget might include professional photography, floor plans and virtual tours, listings on realestate.com and Domain, social media campaigns, including boosted posts, and things like signboards and printed brochures. Now, some agencies include a portion of this in your commission. Others charge it separately as part of what we call vendor-paid advertising, or VPA for short. Depending on your property and the campaign size, you might be looking at anywhere from $1,500 to $5,000 or more. At Professional Southport, we tailor our marketing to the property and the goals, because what works for a waterfront home near the Broadwater is very different from what works for a 2-bedroom unit in Southport Central. Legal and conveyancing fees come next. When you sell a property in Queensland, you'll need a conveyancer or solicitor to handle the legal paperwork, including the contract of sale, title searches, and settlement documentation. Typical costs range from around $800 to $2,000, depending on complexity. From the 1st of August 2025, legislation is changing to force sellers to provide a seller's disclosure statement to bring Queensland more in line with other states of Australia. Initial costings from conveyancers are suggesting these fees will be between $550 and $895, including GST. You may also need to pay for additional searches, title corrections, contract variations, or even strata report handling if you're selling a unit. Your conveyancer will talk you through what's relevant, and again, a good agent will guide you towards someone reliable in the conveyancing area. Let's talk about staging and presentation. This is often optional, but it can make a huge difference to your result. Professional styling or staging can range from around $1,500 to $4,000 or more, depending on the size of the home and where the furniture is needed. Some sellers choose a DIY approach, things like hiring a few pieces or simply decluttering and styling with what they've got. Even without full staging, I always recommend budgeting for professional cleaning, including windows, a garden tidy-up, and some minor repairs or paint touch-ups. These costs might be small, but they can increase the perceived value by tens of thousands of dollars. What about building and pest inspections? Traditionally, buyers order these when the offer's accepted on a property, but in today's market, some sellers choose to get pre-sale reports done to speed things up and show transparency, especially to encourage more bidders if they have chosen an auction marketing campaign. These typically cost around $500 to $600, and while they're optional, they can give buyers extra confidence to move ahead quickly, especially with freestanding dwellings that aren't covered by body corporate insurance for structural problems. Not everyone needs to renovate before they sell, but even small upgrades can make a big difference. Think about a fresh coat of paint, updated lighting, new tapware in the kitchen, refresh your landscaping, or upgrading the carpet. These can add perceived value without a massive spend, but larger renos, like full kitchen overhauls, bathroom renovations, need careful cost-benefit analysis. I always say don't overcapitalise. Talk to your agent about what buyers in your part of Southport are actually looking for. Let's move to government fees and taxes. In Queensland, if you still have a property mortgage on the property, you'll likely pay a discharge fee, usually a few $100s, to formally remove your lender from the title. And if you're selling an investment or non-primary residence, you might be liable for capital gains tax. That's best discussed with your accountant early on, especially if it's a property you've held for several years. If you're planning to sell via auction, there are a few more costs to keep in mind. Auctions can be a great strategy, but they can come with some additional fees, like the auctioneer's fee, which is usually between $500 and $800. Occasionally there's venue fees, but more often we run our auctions on site. We do that to create the emotional buyer who really falls in love with the property. You can't feel that in an in-rooms auction. A successful auction campaign also tends to include a bit more marketing to maximise interest, and that's something your agent should guide you through. Don't forget about moving costs. Once the sale is done, it's time to pack. Removalists in Southport generally charge between $120 to $150 an hour. Depending on how much you're moving and how far, this can add up quickly. Also consider the costs of boxes, packing materials, end-of-lease cleaning, if you're a landlord, and possible storage fees if there's a gap between settlement and your next move. Then there's the hidden or unexpected costs, and these are often the ones that tend to catch people off guard. You might need to cover council and water rate adjustments at settlement. Your insurance needs to stay in place until the property officially settles, which can be weeks or even months after a contract is signed. Buyers may request small repairs as part of the negotiations. And if you're selling a rental property, you could be up for tenancy break costs or compensation if the timing doesn't align with your lease. So what's the takeaway here? Selling a home in Queensland comes with a lot of moving parts, and knowing what to expect helps you make smart, stress-free decisions. From agents' fees and legal costs to marketing, staging, and moving expenses, each element plays a part in shaping your final result. And that's exactly where a good agent can make all the difference. At Professional Southport, we don't just list your property. We guide you through the entire process, helping you budget strategically, spend wisely, and avoid the common traps that can cost you time and money. If you're thinking about selling your property, or even just starting to plan for it, I'd love to have a chat. No pressure, no push, just an honest conversation about what it would take to get your place ready and sold with confidence. Thanks for listening. I'm Andrew Wright, and this has been Selling Southport. If you found this episode helpful, feel free to share it with someone who's thinking of selling. Thanks for listening to the Selling Southport podcast. I hope today's episode has given you some valuable insights and practical advice on the local real estate market. Whether you're looking to buy, sell, lease, or invest, I'm here to share my extensive experience and guide you every step of the way. If you have any questions or want to discuss your next property move, don't hesitate to reach out. Your success is my priority. Stay tuned for more expert tips and updates on the Southport property scene.